We're going to wait 1 minute just to let everybody join here. So just 1 moment. Okay, this, it's 2:31, so we'll get started on this right now. We are waiting for a couple people to join. One of our folks is having some technical difficulties, and I'm waiting for somebody from the Special Compensation Fund to join this so we can do this answer hour. But I can kick it off. For those who don't know me, I'm Brad Morse. I'm the program director for Work on Campus. And a number of you, I'm sure, have we've been in contact and we've had some interaction. But this is the kind of a new process starting this year in campus, is having the assessments reporting run through the system instead of having them mailed in. So I'm sure there's a number of folks that are on this call that have not attended hadn't attended our sessions, or got an email and didn't know what it was. So for that, I apologize. With the rollout and everything, it's just one of those, it's one of those things we wanted to, work through and make sure that, we're able to work with you on that. So today, we have a pretty light agenda. We wanted to keep it open for questions and comments, but I'm waiting for one of my folks to join who will be able to do we're going to start off with a demo of campus and how you do report your assessments, for the groups that you're supposed to report for. What does it mean, how do group managers add you to be the reporter of campus? And so for just some housekeeping items, we may want to have everybody mute their line and get some feedback on my end. So if you could just mute your line. And if anybody has any questions, please throw them in the chat now. And while we're going through the presentation, or when we get the Special Comp Fund on, we'll be able to answer those questions. Is Trey on yet? Take it not.
Come on.
Okay, just make sure you're muted. So for those of you that don't know about Campus, Campus is the new system for workers' compensation for the Department of Labor. And it's a system that encompasses, the dispute management. So if anybody's involved with our ADR unit, it houses all the claims information from the insurance carriers that report to us. And it also includes our Special Comp Fund, which is a unit that pays benefits for uninsured employers and supplemental injury fund benefits. But they also are in charge of, some other things as far as compliance goes. But one of the things that they are in charge of is collecting an assessment. And the assessment, and I'm a little out of my league here. I'm hoping there's somebody from SCF on. The assessment process runs where we start with, you got to report for the company's assessment by April. And what you do is you file in what your losses are. If you've had losses that year, not losses, I mean indemnity claims. And can everybody please put your stuff on mute? Okay, so Trey, are you on? Sorry. Okay. So he's joining now, and Trey is going to be the person doing the demo for you. So Tom Hansen, you on?
Am I on?
Yeah, you on the call? You just answered, so I
Yes.
assume you are.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Tom, can you go over what the assessment is? I apologize. I know what the assessment is, but I don't want to speak out of turn. Can you just kind of go over what it is?
Well, it's the assessment against the insurers and the self-insurers based on their indemnity payments made. It's funds that are used to support our operations.
So Brad, this is Karen. I can add, I'm on here as well. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so the assessments are collected from insurers and self-insurers twice a year, and based on first on the indemnity losses that are paid out by each group or entity, and then the insurers actually pay assessments based on their DSR pure premium. So the losses are just used to calculate the ratio of liability between the two types of entities. So the work comp report of benefits paid is due to DLI every year on April 1st. And then the first invoice goes out at the end of June with payments due in August and February of the following year. And the assessments go to fund not only the work comp division at the Department of Labor and Industry, but also the Office of Administrative Hearings, the Work Comp Court of Appeals, and part of the fraud program at the Department of Commerce. I don't think I left anything out. I hope not.
Yeah, thanks, Karen. And
Sure.
I apologize. We're supposed to have our demo going right now, but the person who is doing the demo lost power, so he's finding another way to get on. So I'm just making sure. Trey, are you on?
I'm here now, yeah.
Thanks, Trey. All right, so Trey, do you want to take over the screen and start showing the demo? And I'll
Sure.
kind of walk through it. If people want to put their questions in the chat while he's doing this, that'd be great. And one thing to note, we are going to be looking at right into our test system. The information you're seeing is fake data, dummy data. So it may not behave exactly as you see it on your end, just because of we're making some stuff up. But we kind of want to go to and we're seeing your Gmail.
Okay. Yeah, well, I was just going to highlight that this is the annual assessment email that gets sent out, but I know we're
All right, no, Trey, that's good. You do your thing, man. So everybody, we sent out an email from campus that went to all group administrators. So every group in this campus should have a group administrator, and that means people that are. Can everybody mute your phone?
I just got on.
Nathan, can you mute your phone? Okay. So apologize for that. So the system sends out this generated letter saying, it's time to do your assessment. It went to both group administrators, and if they had already designated an assessment contact at their group, it would go to the assessment contact. The goal, of course, is for everybody to sign up for campus if you are an insurer or self-insurer, and to have a group administrator and to delegate out the permissions either for the assessment. It can be somebody internal to your establishment, or it could be somebody external if you have a TPA or somebody else reporting for you. Tina, you had a good question there. How do you find who the group administrator is for a self-insurer? The first thing is what I would do is I'd contact the department. Our help desk can help you locate who that group administrator is. If the person, if the group doesn't have one set up, because a lot of smaller self-insurers that don't interact with the department, they use TPAs or other folks as their agents. I would contact the person, whoever you have your contract with at the group, and ask them, who's going to sign up and who's going to be the group administrator, and then they can invite you into their group. But some of it is they do need to take that step and initiate those accounts and do that. If you've already emailed the help desk, they'll turn those around for you. If not, please give them a call or reach out to the special comp fund. They can also help you. So we have another question here. Sorry, I'm trying to monitor everything. So if they told you that you need to if you contacted them and they told you that they need to contact the employer, there could be a point which they did not register yet. That's why we don't have that information. So Deb asked if the ER is registered for campus and they did not get an email notice completing the assessment form. Deb, we can look at that and see who it was. We did kick them all out. We confirmed we had about 500 of them go out, so we can see who it is and see maybe when it was the process versus when they signed up.
Say, Brad, can I comment on that real quick?
Yeah, yes.
So if Deb asked if the ER is not registered or the employer is not registered for campus, did they get the email notice? So we actually sent out 2 separate email notices. One was based on the group administrator designated in campus, and the second email went out a day later to all of the people we had on file who reported to us last year. So we did have our email addresses from last year, and that's who the second email went out to.
Let's walk through this demo here, and then we will jump to all the questions. So to start off with, this is how you log into campus. And Trey, you want to walk through who you are and how you're logging in?
Yeah, so this is the user that was sent the email that I was showing earlier. And in this case, what I think is, the more common use case at this point, this is the group administrator for an insurer who submitted a claim last year that would kind of make them an active insurer for assessments. So we're going to log in as that user. And because the user was the group administrator of the insurer entity, they actually have the assessment on their SCF queue, but we know that most of these will be handled by separate assessment contacts. So we're going to go through the process of adding the contact to the entity and then having that contact fill it out. So you go to your groups, go to group admin here, you manage your group.
So this is from the group administrator's perspective. This is, there's a number of trainings out there on group administration, but what we're doing here is trying to invite somebody to be our assessment contact.
Right, and this is the permission you want to give them: designated contact for assessments. They receive all communications related to assessments for the group. And it also gives them permission to submit the form. So I created this user beforehand, but if the user is not registered in campus yet, they'll have to register before they can log in and start this process. So now I'm going to log out and log back in as that contact user. So you can see here that the assessment for the insurance company is showing up in my assessment reports on the queue. This one was from a test I did on this yesterday, just to confirm. So that won't show up in the real case. It was because of the manual test case. But you can either
just so let's just go over just before you jump into that. So this is when you log in, and this is for the folks that maybe are only an assessment contact.
Right.
And they don't interact with campus. This is your dashboard. And so there's tabs here, your claims that you're linked to and your disputes and forms. Now, the only thing that'll show up in your claims is things that you actually handle claims for. So if you're if you're a TPA and you handle your claims, it'd be there. Those are the claims that would show up there. And then the disputes would be disputes are related to forms or forms that you've submitted. And then assessments is the, obviously my SCF assessments report.
Yeah, and depending on what transactions you have access to, there might be more items in this queue, but the main thing for the reporting case is this tab. So this button will allow you to go directly to the report, or you can go to the insurer's details page or the assessment details page. So I'll go to the assessment for now. And it's not very filled out right now because it was just generated, but it gives you the option to submit an insurer's report to update some of this information. So if you click that, it sends us to the report. And I'll just enter random numbers for the sake of testing. Apologies if these are super high or super low. I'm assuming 1,000 might be low for some insurers, but Brad, am I good to submit this?
Yeah, submit it.
So once you'll see. So when I click submit, it tells me that once it's submitted, you're not able to change or submit any additional forms on that assessment. So the assessment goes out once a year, and you submit this form once a year, but once it's been submitted, there's no changing that information. So clicking on submit form. It's been submitted, and then it shows up in that forms queue we were talking about earlier. You can see insurer assessment report submitted on 3/4. If you go back to the assessment, you see it's now submitted. And we see that the indemnity I reported goes into total benefits reported, the replacement policy goes into replacement policy reported, and the report submission date is updated with the date. So that kind of covers what is being updated by the form. Brad, do you have anything else to say, or should I go to the trading partner case?
Well, this is the first step in the process where you submit this that Karen was talking about. You submit this, and then you will see the rates as we establish rates. They start to change in this as that gets established. That's when the stuff gets updated.
Okay. Should I move on to the next thing?
Yeah, let's do it on the next one. Now, this is a unique situation that a few of you may run into. If you are the assessment contact for somebody, but you're also the trading partner contact, so the way you navigate is a little different here, because the trading partner profile is so big, you always go to your trading partner profile first, and so you don't start off on the dashboard of the My Claims dashboard. You actually are on the trading partner. Now, this is an edge case scenario, but it could happen. So if this is you and you get one of these reports and you need to go in there to fill out an assessment for somebody, this is how you navigate to it.
Right. So if you're associated to a trading partner entity, this dashboard will pop up when you log in. And part of this dashboard is that the queues only have the first actions queue and the form history queue. So what we'll need to do to get to the assessments is to go to my groups, go to the insurer that you're related to, that you're the designated contact for assessments for. Go to the insurer details page for it. There's an SEF assessment history tab, which will show all assessments made on the insurer. And we'll go to the one that is awaiting report. Open the assessment and click submit insurer's report. From there, it's the same process. We enter in the indemnity benefits and the report policy, and that gets updated on the assessment once we've submitted it and begins the process.
Perfect. All right, let's leave this up and then we will, because I know you're gonna look at that form real quick, but let's see if we have anything in the chat. Karen, do you want to kind of navigate the chat and let us know what questions are out there?
Sure, I can do that unless my dog starts barking horribly. Sorry. I'm going to go back here a little bit. I am a group administrator. I'm trying to give one of the users access, but the choice for assessment contact is not there.
That's me. I can give a little more detail with that. The choices I get for the permissions are group admin, service of process designee, designated contact for penalties, profile management designee, claim access administrator, or global claim access.
Trey?
So out of curiosity, this is an insurer entity. I know that it can vary by the entity type.
Yes, Berkeley Net.
So it's not the trading partner or the TPA?
Correct.
Okay. I have not seen that particular case. But I can say if I go back to group admin, that it was displaying on our end.
Yeah, let's take that down. Aaron, is it
Right.
Aaron? Sorry. Let's grab some of your, just put your information in the chat. We'll follow up with you. I wonder if it's reading something different on our side, because it should be there for insurers. If anybody else isn't getting it as an insurer to assign a contact, that's please let us know.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I know there's some questions on like the emails that went out. They only went out to insurer or self-insurer entities, and that's to their group administrator and to their assessment contacts. So if you're a group administrator of a TPA and you're not listed as somebody's contact, it wouldn't have gone to you. So that's something we know we've seen that is a little confusing because you're probably used to getting that instead of them. But you know, the way the system, if you think about it, because the entity responsible for reporting is that insurance entity, that's where we want to house the information so we can constantly look at their assessment reports over the years. And so this is a little bit of a change from what we've done in the past, but we still want to have the functionality to have TPAs, or some people use firms to report this information to us. So we definitely want to have that. Karen, is there any others in here? Apparently there's a lot of questions about replacement policies. Do you know what those are, Karen?
Sorry, I was muted. I don't have a good answer for that. Let me see here. I am looking for information on that. Why don't we move to some other questions and I'll see what I can dig up. So the next question, I'm an insurer, just set up an account for report of benefits and assessment. There is no assessment tab in our new account. What do we have to do to have it show?
So on the user doesn't have it on their dashboard.
That's what it sounds like.
Okay. I believe they will need to have the correct permissions, and there will need to be at least one assessment existing on the insurer. I should add it's not every insurer technically gets this. It has to be an insurer that was on a claim with certain benefit periods that fell within the previous year. So it's possible that if insurer for whatever reason that period, it might
let me jump in there, Trey.
Yeah.
So our system, because when we went live, it's pulling the campus data, triggering when to send out those emails based on what the information we had was in the campus data. And what we found is there is a gap, that there's still some assessments that need to be reported where the data didn't trigger for a number of reasons. It could have been maybe you have low volume and you haven't had to report the URs on those claims yet because you're only doing annuals or whatever. And that is something we've seen. And so I want to be upfront and honest. So the first thing on this is we wanted to get everybody trained on how the system's supposed to work. We're currently working with the commissioner and SCF on what to do to ensure that we get everybody the emails set up, the transactions set up for every carrier so that this does happen. So in the next week or so, we're going to have more transactions set up for everybody. So hopefully every carrier should have these transactions. It's a manual process we have to do on the back end, which takes a little more time. So that's why you will see the tab once we get it there. And the purpose of this is when we create these assessment transactions that link to the carrier, that's how we're able to tie that person to that transaction, so they don't have to see all the other stuff for the carrier or do all the other stuff for the carrier. It's right there on their queue, and you could have 75 of them without having to navigate to each carrier. So that's why we have to generate those transactions so that you can actually go right into it. So that's something we are currently working on. So we're going to have more information that we're going to actually be emailing out. We thought it was important right now because when we sent out the emails, we realized not a lot of people had even set up their assessment contacts, and we have a large number of self-insureds that aren't even signed up for the system. And so, and that meant they didn't get emails and people didn't, get stuff. So we want to make sure that we're working with you on this process and figuring out a way to do it. And Karen, I know that you have some more information on that.
Right. So actually, we did get approval from the commissioner for those of you who are not yet set up as the group administrator and or designated contact for assessments to use the form that we had previously used to report your indemnity losses to us. So the form is not out on the website yet. We took it down when we launched Campus. It needs to be updated, which we will do and send out probably next week. And we will accept that form either in paper or electronic format. So you may either mail it to us or email it to the Special Compensation Fund. And I can put the email address in the chat right now. And if you have any other questions about assessments, you can either contact the help desk at the email address you've been contacting, or you can certainly contact the Special Compensation Fund directly. The form was a PDF form. I see that's a question in the chat right now. It was a PDF that just asked for a couple of pieces of information. We don't collect medical benefits paid any longer. That is not part of the assessment process. So it basically just asks for indemnity losses and replacement policy payments. And I'm still looking for information on that, by the way, but I'll put the email address in the chat right now. One other thing, just a reminder, when you are reporting indemnity benefits, you should not be including supplementary benefits that you paid in the previous calendar year. Most of you know that, but I think there are probably a couple of people that are new to the assessment reporting process. Another question in the chat, we're not supposed to report interest paid to employees, penalties and interest, correct? Yes, that's correct. Okay, Brad, would you like to move on?
I'm good to go. I'm turning it over to you now that we are done with our demo.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm rolling it right over to you.
Okay, one of the questions in the chat is, are TPAs for self-insurers using Campus? Yes. Brad, I don't know if you want to elaborate on that anymore.
Yeah, the TPAs are using Campus. A lot of them are reporting transactions EDI. That's the new standard we have. So there are a number of TPAs that are using Campus. And we have a number of TPAs on this call. So if you have any questions on if your TPA is in Campus and how to assign them as assessment contact, you can reach out to them directly, or you could reach out to the help desk and we could give you that information.
Another question in the chat, we registered in Campus pursuant to our trading partner agreement, and that agreement lists additional insurers' papers we write on. We registered as an insurer. The additional insurers are not registered in Campus. Do we report for all the insurers listed on our trading partner agreement in Campus?
No, the trading partner agreement is really just for submitting claims. That's what the trading partner agreement is for. It links the trading partner, basically the submitter of those transactions, in there and links them to them. So the way it works is each one of those insurer groups needs to have somebody as a group administrator, so you can then assign an assessment contact and report them each individual. So if you had for instance, you're a trading partner and you had 4 carriers that you're reporting for, those 4 carriers would each need to sign up, and depending on who it is, maybe it's the same person, is the group administrator for each one. You can be part of multiple groups in Campus, and so you'd report assessments for each one of the individual carriers.
I'm still looking through the chat for questions that I may have missed.
Yeah, and one other thing that is important too is in order to be set up as a group administrator for a company, you do need to reach out to the help desk, and they'll assign you to somebody to work with you to give you those permissions. So if if the carrier's in the system and it's XYZ insurance company, and I say I want to be the group administrator for them, we do vet out those group administrators because we just don't want to assign anybody to them. So we do vet out who can be the group administrator, because the group administrator does have rights to delegate access to claims and case information, as well as this assessment contact and other things. So if you are a self-insured, especially because most of you haven't signed up, you'd sign up for campus, and then you would contact the help desk and say, I am the group administrator for XYZ self-insurance company, or whatever it is, and there's a process that they will refer you to, and then somebody will work with you to vet you and make sure that and get you signed up to be the group administrator.
So there's a question. I reported for all of our group self-insureds in the past. I have not received any emails related to any of the groups. And I don't know why that would be, because if you had reported in the past, and I know we have that name or that email address in the legacy database. So I am not certain why that would be. We did send out, I believe there were over 700 assessment reporters from previous years, and I think only approximately 205 of those are currently set up in campus as a designated assessment contact. So it's possible that we may have missed someone, although I don't know. The only other thing I can suggest is that perhaps it went to your spam. I really don't know. Sorry. Did everyone see the special comp email address in the chat window? It's dli.specialcomp, SPECIALCOMP @state.mn.us. I don't know if I read this one already. How does the carrier get connected to the account holder? Did you cover that already, Brad?
I think I was trying to get at that on the group management with contacting. How does the carrier itself get connected to, or how does like an individual get connected with the carrier as far as the group
Right.
manager? They have the process. They contact DLI and they vet them, and then they become the group manager. Once you have a group manager established for your carrier, then it's all self-service, where the group manager can delegate and give rights and add people to the group.
I'm not seeing any additional questions. I don't think I missed any. Replacement policies, I'm sorry, I just don't have enough information on that right now, but I can tell you that very, very few reports come in identifying replacement policy numbers. So I think last year there were only maybe 4 or 5 reports that actually provided those.
Michelle, I see you put a question there. So you're in your groups and in your carriers, they're not having the assessment reports. That tab is missing. That's what I was talking about, where some of them didn't trigger. So if you can put your groups in the chat, actually, or just email them to me, I'll look to see, get those added.
And I think there's a question right before that from Lee. As a TPA, are we allowed to report on behalf of our self-insured clients? Yes. If so, how can we get access to do so? So that was in the demo. Do you want to add anything to that, Brad?
Yeah, Lee. So yeah, this was designed kind of with that in mind. The only part this first year that's going to be difficult is getting your self-insurers to get an account and get you designated. That's the hurdle we're having. Once that happens, they just go in there, as they are the group administrator, just assign whoever from your group does the assessments for them. And then you will be the designated special assessment contact for them, and you'd be able to report. So when you go, Trey, you want to go back to the dashboard? The assessment contact dashboard. So when on here, what will happen is this tab will appear when we generate those assessment reports every year. So if you had one person from your group and they're reporting for 12 or so folks, once that happens, this assessment tab, they'd open it up and they would see them all there. They'd see the insurance company's name, they'd see the assessment ID, they would go through and type them all in. They'd show if it was submitted, and then it would also be in the My Forms queue. So that's the way it would work, is you would have them all there. So if you're reporting for a large number, that's the thing.
And so again, if you are unable to become the designated contact for assessments by your client, then your option is to file the report using the form that we've used for many years now, which will become available on the website most likely next week. And we will be sending out an email to all of the registered group administrators and designated contact for assessments that we have on file, and also all of the previous contacts that we have that have filed assessment reports. I will go through the list to make sure that, to my knowledge, that we are not missing anyone. So look for that email next week. Thank you. Between has researched the replacement policy. Policy
Yeah,
between an insurance company and a consumer, which promises to pay the insured the replacement value of the subject of the policy if a loss occurs. Yeah, there are very few of these. Brad, were you going to add something?
I was going to add that if you don't get an email, that we are going to put it on the Campus Central page too, so that anything we send out does go on there as well. So if folks watch that, it'll be there as well.
Is there a good link for them to use for the campus site, campus page on the website? Is it the Campus Central page?
Yeah. So,
Okay. Okay, I've added that to the chat window as well. Okay, I don't think we have anything else to add. As I said, you will be able to use the form we've used in the past. It is not currently available, so don't go look for it on the website. There is a section on the website that talks about assessments, but it does say that we will be using Campus this year. So we'll update that when the form is updated and provide that to everyone.
yeah, and one key thing from me who has to deal with the data on that stuff, please, one form per company. Reporting all your companies on one form is challenging for us to match up from a data perspective. We'll put the instructions in the email.
Right. Okay. If there are no more questions, when would you use the selection to add trading partner profile?
when would we, like in the demo we did, I showed that because I know one of you at least is the trading partner, that is the trading partner profile person, and they have to use that for their navigation, because that, once you have that designation, that's always your kind of your dashboard homepage, and so that's why we showed it that way.
Another question, how will the assessment invoices be dispersed? So if you report to us using the prior form that we've used, you will be invoiced. I believe we've been emailing those, although we may have been mailing those. I'm not positive on that, but they will not go through campus. If you report to us through campus, your invoice will be sent through campus, and you'll find it on your dashboard. Correct, Brad?
That is correct.
Okay. Okay, any other questions? The amounts due will be updated in the assessment details.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you're talking about the page we were just on. Yeah, if it's submitted through here, it all gets, once the rate gets established, the invoice comes in, that does get updated in the. That's one of the purposes of that, is to track that.
What email can we use for specific questions for help other than the help desk? So I guess if your email is regarding campus questions, oh, sorry, there goes my dog. Brad, I would assume, other than the help desk, I don't know, Brad, if you can provide another email address for them to use, but if you have questions about the assessments itself, you can use the dli.specialcomp email address.
Yeah, the help desk is the only, is where we're filtering all of the campus questions too. So that's where you would need to contact them.
Please do not invoice through campus to related insurers for TPA. Can you direct the invoices to the TPA? Maybe we can take that discussion offline. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, but again, if you report to us using the form that has always been used, your invoicing will not be done through campus. So basically you enter the indemnity amount, which does not need to be detailed. Yes. No detail is required. Oh, dogs are awesome. Yeah, not when they bark like that in meetings. Did I hear you correctly when you stated we report twice a year? No, I'm sorry. You only report once a year. You are invoiced twice a year. Once at the end of June, and then again the following, I think it's the end of December for the February payment. Okay, yeah, a lot of questions about invoicing the TPA versus the client, which is what we have done in the past. Yeah, so we file on behalf of many clients as a TPA, so I don't think you'd want us to file the old way and not use campus. No, we would prefer that you do use campus, and the advantages to that obviously are that you will start building a reporting history and assessment history in campus this year, which is, I think, better for you. Everything will be visible to you in campus on your dashboard, and it will just be a more efficient process. If you have a designated contact for assessments, you should be able to file the assessment reports in campus, and please give it a go. When do the other fields on that report fill in? After financial calls? I guess I'm not, which report are you referring to? The report in campus or the report that we used to use? Because we don't use all of those fields anymore. So I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. If you'd like to email me, you can do so at the special comp email address, and I will get those emails. Yeah, so Brad, this is what we were talking about. So if the TPA has to report for each client, they have to contact each client to set them up to file on their behalf. Currently, we are not seeing the tab for SCF reporting as a TPA. That is correct. The client needs to do that. The group administrator, if they have one, needs to designate the assessment contact. That's correct. Do we have a timetable for the TPA specific Q&A that was previously requested? Sorry. There are many TPA questions. So timetable, oops.
It was requested in last answer hour or something. It's been requested, and that is with currently with CRT to get that scheduled.
Oh,
Can we just follow up with them? But we may need to have a joint one if it's going to have assessment stuff in it. So maybe Karen just coordinate with them.
okay. All right. Thank you. I was not aware of that. All right. I will do that. And as always, you know, if you do not get an email message regarding any of these issues, please check the website. Okay. Looks like questions have stopped. Great. Well, thank you for attending. We hope we've helped. And we will find out, I guess. Good luck. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thanks, everyone.
Brad, one more question. Are you still on? Looks like he is not. I will refer that question. If we are a TPA handling claims for our parent group, would we bundle our information with the carriers? I believe Brad said yes. I will check with him though. And that information will be coming out when we make the form available on the website. Thank you.